which comes on Google, but not here.
Yeah, from the Google, I cannot download it. I would need to extract the.
Okay, we're on live stream now.
Okay.
So let me record it also for the time being. So, the, it has always, see, this is our Lord Chaitanya's mission, is to spread holy name all over the world. Every town and village, my name will be heard. Lord Krishna's name will be heard. This is the, it's a mini Satya Yuga in within the Kali Yuga. Of course, and it is not there now because the holy name is not spread like this. So, Srila Prabhupada's main purpose when he first came to US was to spread this holy name all around the US. And from there, he was hoping that he had full faith that Americans then would take, because they have, Hindi it says dabdaba. They have the gravitas, they have the respect of the world. So when the Americans go and preach, then holy name will be, people would be more impressed, and then they would be able to take to the holy name. So of course now he did that and he showed it can be done, and it was done. Now it is not so. So since like almost like 20, since 1998, 99, I've been thinking how this could be reestablished. And so years and years I've been thinking more and more. Of course, so many devotees I've spoken to, how to spread the movement, the holy name again now in these times. And more and more, I've evolved, of course, by hearing from Srila Prabhupada, by experiencing myself, and also, seeing how things are going in the world. And slowly, I formed some concept of how to preach now and in the near future in North America. So I wanted to, which includes a large part of it is the Varnasrama and Varnasrama College. And so I wanted to have written some things and thought over and some conceptualization, but I want to bring it out in the devotee community for a review to see where I'm wrong, or it can be improved, or it is okay, and so on. So I would really like whoever is here now would join later and would watch later. Please do comment and review. And honestly, I want to have a full-on discussion on the whole concept of it, how a Varnashrama or Varnashrama college then and can be integrated in the whole preaching of the holy name around the world. So we are starting with North America because Srila Prabhupada did that, and his thinking was New York is the most important city in the world. I should go there because it's the most important philosophy, and it still holds. And that's why I'm trying. I know following in his footsteps and his indication. I was focused on New York. Always New York. It has to be successful. So I don't know if it should change, but that is where we are. Um, so whatever I've been thinking is based on many instructions of Srila Prabhupada. So just wanted to start off, I wanted to bring it, just wanted to hear what Srila Prabhupada says a little bit. And then we have discussed this before. So very briefly, we will go through it and then I will bring up the concept. So this is on March 12th, 1974.
Their business will be to
in Vrindavan.
exploit the poor citizens. And they will be embarrassed and harassed so much. By one side, no sufficient rain, and therefore scarcity of food. And the other side, taxation by the government. In this way, the people will be so much harassed that they will give up their home and go to the forest. Unless they take to Krishna consciousness, they will not be saved. The Varnasrama College has to be established immediately, everywhere. Wherever we have got our center, a Varnasrama College should be established to train 4 divisions. 1 class Brahman, 1 class Kshatri, 1 class Vaishya, and 1 class Shudra. But everyone will be elevated to the spiritual platform by the spiritual activities which we have prescribed. There is no inconvenience even for the Shudras.
So I just want to stop here. So, and later on, we can always come back to it and just go over the overall concept very briefly. And then we will be discussing all these things in detail as time goes by, and today too. So, here he is mentioning about people, harassed people in the cities coming to Krishna consciousness or to the devotees and the Varnasrama College for that purpose to train them. Later on, he also talks about training devotees, like we have been hearing on from so many other places. He says about training devotees, dividing the Vaishnava society into 4 divisions, and also he talks about the children, how they need to be trained, and that's the main reason Gurukul and Varnashrama College in March 12 today, I mean in this conversation and in the 14th March conversation of 74, he talks in detail about the Gurukul and then the Varnashrama College after 10-12 years of age, once the Varna is figured out. So these are the um, three, let's say, customers he is talking about. 3 people who who would become the students of Varnashrama College. And here he says every place, every center, we saw every center. Everywhere we have got our center, a Varnashrama College should be established. So now let's see how is it related to the spreading of the holy name. That's the main question in front of us, because just to live maybe even little better, that's not something. No, we have not come to chanting the holy name just to live life. We want to go to Krishna and we want to spread his holy name because it is so pleasurable and that's what he would like. So that is the reason. How do we connect a Varnashrama College concept which Srila Prabhupada is telling here to Sankirtan, to spreading the holy name? So this is the concept I wanted devotees to review. So of course, Lord Chaitanya's mass Sankirtan is what will build Sukriti. That is what Srila Prabhupada wanted. He started it, having devotees go out preaching all the time, everywhere. And this is what we need to do because it builds mass Sukriti. The whole atmosphere gets spiritualized slowly, and because of which even people's thought processes start changing. And also many people who have inquiry mode and who are already thinking like that, they get more evolved, just like Kurukshetra. Srila Prabhupada said Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra, because they were in Dharma Kshetra, because of which the Pandavas will be more strong. So in a sense, by mass Sankirtan, more and more the whole North America, that's how Srila Prabhupada is thinking. North America, all the countries will gradually become Dharma Kshetra. And so people will become more and more attuned. But that takes massive amount of people chanting, like thousands and thousands and thousands of people chanting. So how will they come about? That is the people keep saying, oh, you should go out and chant, you should do that, you should do that. How? How to make stable Sankirtan devotees, not just 1 or 2 years, 3 years. We are talking about Westerners, not importing, people from outside the country, because we are preaching here among the people in North America. North Americans should be taking the lead to preach, and because they can go integrate into the whole society. And how can one import hundreds and thousands of people from outside anyway? So the whole little bit I have written about it before. I've been thinking about what is the reason why Western grown devotees, they need, what is the problem it has been, and we can discuss that in detail. But in short, this is the thing, that we need lot of Sankirtan devotees, and then their devotee children also need to be trained, so that they can become, it's like maybe it will take 100 years, 200 years to get to a stage where maybe more, before there are this thousands and thousands of people develop to do Sankirtan. But what to do now? We have to start now. So this is what I have been thinking, because Srila Prabhupada says every center should be Varnasrama College. So I was thinking how to implement it. So this is the concept, is near all the major cities in North America have farm communities, but oriented as Varnashrama colleges. And we go through the concept here little later, and surrounded by preaching centers in college towns or Indian dominant places to fund the preaching, so get new people coming in, and like that we can discuss that more. But this is the concept which I have been thinking, and that is why I was thinking of getting a farm around 1 to 2 hours from this main cities. So in New York we have done that, in Florida also same place, same thing. And so here there are, of course, these three students of the college, the normal devotees, which are all young devotees, older devotees, families, everybody. So they, because one has to identify their varna, and then related education and training, roles, expectations, mood, skills, interactions with others, relationship training, ashrama training, because so much of training is required. So many habits are there, so many cultural things are there. Everything has to be trained. Otherwise, it's a cause for bad interactions and then splitting up. It's so easy in Kali Yuga to split. And preaching to new people to purify, when we preach, then it purifies the heart. Prabhupada talks about a big thorn, removing a small thorn, similarly dovetailing our consciousness. And of course, their children, Gurukul till 10, 12 years of age, and Varnashrama College after that, based on identifying their Varna. And then the public education, what we just heard, Srila Prabhupada, if they get very depressed and anxiety living in cities, so people want to come. So different, this becomes a great preaching tool to those people, because people have those tendencies thinking. So different ways, farming, education, I do that sometimes. Farm-based wellness, this is what I've been working on long term. And then artist education, we can go through that, and so many ways one can bring in new people to teach them, and they come into an environment where our devotees are there, and there is a whole consciousness, spiritual consciousness, God consciousness, and more simple way of life, and showing how one can live life while living here. So gradually there could be and there would be, by association, sadhu sangha, and people come here, they become so, oh wow, this is such a nice place, and they get little humble, normal people. So it's easy to influence towards Krishna consciousness. So this is what I've been thinking. Of course, there are so many more things one can do using the farm community. I don't want to go too deep into it, but we can. But this is the main concept. So let's talk about that a little bit. And I want to welcome all the devotees, especially uh, Ramananda Prabhu, Ryan, and uh, Nitya Gopal Prabhu from Gopal Eco Village. He has done so much of courageous thing to try to go and open something like this. Very good. And Leo Prabhu is here, and Pradyumna Prabhu, John Prabhu is listening on the way. We have been discussing how to do prasadam distribution. Okay, Hare Krishna. We'll love to get inputs from all the devotees, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. Always Srila Prabhupada. I'm very
Hey,
inspired.
so nice to see you after a long time. Maybe 1 year back we met, right? 1.5 year now.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah, we met and Madhu Pandit Prabhu's soulful japa
Yeah,
session, I think.
it was so nice day that day. 64 round
Yeah, it was
chanting.
very good.
Yeah, then
Yes, Prabhu.
so many things have happened after that, huh? You are now in
Yeah, lot of
uh,
thing, yes, Prabhu.
near Orlando. It's only 45-50 minutes from
Yes, very
Orlando,
much.
where you are.
Yeah, we're just 50 minutes from airport, from
Yes.
Airland Airport.
Yeah. I've been there many
We've
times,
been,
this place.
oh really? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, please
We
tell
have
us.
been, I mean, we have been developing the place. We recently got the cows. We started Gaushala here.
Mhm.
And we also had a huge success in preaching in the colleges.
Mhm.
There is one college, College of Central Florida. We recently established ourselves as a official club in the college,
Mhm.
and one professor is helping us in that. And name is Spirituality Club. We are focusing on the aspect of different aspects of Varnashrama Dharma, from spiritual, from cultural, from Sanatan Dharma perspective.
Mhm.
We have regular book distribution. We have regular sessions. We have been doing couple of mass sessions also there with the help of different professors. And slowly, I mean, that becomes as a model for us to replicate even into UCF now. That's what our next target is
Mhm.
because it has almost 80,000 students in
Wow,
UCF.
amazing.
So we would like to focus on that. And I mean, the need of the hour is Varnashrama Dharma system because I see a lot of people are burnt out in cities, especially big cities like Orlando, Tampa. I mean, a huge number of people they get burnt out from doing 9 to 5 job, and when they come here, they feel although the place is very simple, although we don't have very fancy thing like a city life, but they feel so at peace. Sometimes people travel from Pensacola. We have a couple traveling from Pensacola. He's a white couple. I mean, they're Western devotees, and they came here for Japa transformation workshop, and they feel so connected to the nature, and they are inspired, and they want to live in nature. I mean, this is something which is very simple and which is very valuable at this point of time. I'm very inspired how much positive impact it can have on people's heart and mind and soul. I'm very inspired and thinking to move forward in this direction in a more solid and sustainable way.
Very good to hear, Prabhu. Wonderful. Please continue, and any help I can do, I'll be very happy to. Our Brahma Ratan Agarwal and I keep talking about this location and what to do, and I've been really encouraging him to keep supporting you. And but we'll talk more specifically. This I wanted
Sure,
to
sure.
figure out the concept right now, and anyone who whatever I was writing, because I have a lot to discuss even with you, Prabhu, because Nitya Gopal Prabhu, because how the American people, when you teaching them after 2-3 years, they they have problem how to continue in devotion service, not to become devotee, but how to remain a devotee because of the whole lifestyle, change and occupation and where to work and how to grow up a family. So I wanted to bring in our Ramananda Prabhu, Would he like to comment? Ryan Archibald, maybe he's busy and shy. But Bharat Prabhu? Yes.
Hare
So
Krishna Prabhu.
Ramananda
Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna Prabhu.
yeah.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you.
I'm sorry. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Accept my humble obeisances. And all
Some-
glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Nice to see. You see
And all
Bharat
glories to the
also?
assembled devotees.
You see
It's
Bharat,
been
huh?
so long.
Long time. Huh?
Do I see Bharata?
Yeah, he's right
I
here.
don't see anybody. I don't see anybody.
Ben.
I only
Ben.
see you, Prabhu.
Okay, so Ben, do you remember Bharat Benjamin Burwing?
Oh, he's a dear friend.
Yeah.
Hari Hari Bol.
Haribo. Oh, look at you. Hey, you haven't changed one bit, Prabhu. What's your secret? You're getting
It's a frozen
your body's
picture.
not your body's changing in the wrong direction. Hare
Good
Krishna.
to see you. My obeisances.
Likewise, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So Prabhu, in your farm, I see a big building. How is that?
This is a big silo.
Ah, okay, it's a
It's
silo.
it's just an old
Yeah.
silo. We don't use it, but once upon a time we heard from the recent one of the recent owners that he had
Silo.
what was he doing? He was raising cows, for
Silo.
meat. So he thought he should have a silo, but it was a mistake, he said.
Mhm.
But in any case, yeah. Anyway, I don't have anything to say at the moment because I've just kind of joined in, so I'm coming in, sort of,
Why did you
just to hear.
want to bring your family on a farm rather than where you were living?
Oh,
Real. Yeah.
rather than well, Nandikeshwar Prabhu, very early on in the 2000s, told us of Srila Prabhupada's desire for, Varnashram communities, Varnasrama College. He had said that when he was in the 70s, he was hearing Srila Prabhupada talk about it, and was so inspired, so much so that when he was the temple president in Montreal, he had put a Varnashram College sign above the door of the temple or something. That
Yes.
was in the early days of the concept being introduced, and so I guess around 2000, you remember when you were here in Montreal, and
I remember clearly.
that was a period of time when he was wanting to inspire us to do the same.
When you went
And
to
we read the
Mexico.
what's that?
When you all moved to Mexico.
Yeah, well, Kanea Prabhu had invited us to go to Mexico and sort of humor the possibility of doing it somewhere warmer. So we were very, not really sure how to go about it.
Right.
But the concept of good weather being more conducive was obvious. But we tried a few things in Costa Rica, Panama, and so on and so on.
Fiji.
But we landed here in Canada, Fiji, New Zealand.
I know.
So we've been here for 8 years in Canada, and we've met since then.
Yeah.
Well, I met you
Yes.
9 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 9 years.
I remember we were
But
discussing about not trying to go here, there, but wherever one is, we can, develop food.
perhaps, yeah,
Everything.
yeah.
Krishna is
So we
providing.
figured, okay, well, we're done gallivanting. Let's just try to put roots somewhere and try to develop some of the skills that we
Mhm.
know are required for what Srila Prabhupada had envisioned. And so we focused on protecting cows and training some oxen for work. And so that's pretty much what we've been doing, trying to do it a little bit independently here. But with, our little congregation in Montreal get together for spiritual programs from time to time, a little bit of Sankirtan and stuff like that. Not very much, but we're focusing on the farming. And so yeah, that why we want to live here and do it like this is because, first of all, Srila Prabhupada told us that that was the best thing that we should do. We don't really feel like we have much other contribution in our skill set for Srila Prabhupada, but it's at least something that we can work towards, so we can feel like we're making a meaningful contribution to the to his mission, and also because it's the there's a promise of sattvaguna and to live in this environment and live with the cows and so if we can be stable in living here and living in the sattvic environment, which is conducive to Krishna consciousness, then we have a better chance to have that sort of perpetuated through the successive generations. But we have to take one step at a time and be stable ourselves.
Wonderful
Yeah.
to see, Prabhu. It's always so pleasurable to interact with you since the day you actually, I remember when you were coming, Bhaktarayan. It's so,
Yes.
you're like sage
For,
already from that time.
fortunately, you didn't see me with my long beard and hair at the time.
Just missed that
Hare Krishna.
last time.
We I don't know if my wife is here. We always remember one time when in the preaching center upstairs, as Jai Radhe was walking by pregnant with Keshava, you looked at her and went, "Mother cow." But we didn't take it as an insult, Prabhu. It was very nice. Because she was, but now, yeah, she's the caretaker of a few mother cows.
So, can I
That
ask
was
you
your
a few
blessing.
questions, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Don't
Sure,
mind.
sure.
So, what about the children's education? Like, what are you thinking about now? Your children are how old, and what are they like their tendencies, and how would you think about training them further and their occupation? How will they earn money? What are you thinking now for?
Yes. Well, can I ask how long is the video? How long is the call?
2 hours normally, but whoever
2 hours.
wants.
Okay, okay. I don't want to take too much time. But Prabhu, I was going to I was just doing some work with the cows, moving them around and stuff. Mind if I turn the video off so I
Yeah,
can
of
just be
course.
free to?
Yes, of
I
course.
have my headset so that I can work at the same time.
Excellent.
Okay,
Okay.
Prabhu.
Yeah.
So I'll just give you a brief summary then. We have 5 children. Keshava he's 22, going on 23 years old,
Amazing. Oh my God.
and Bhima's 19. Premanjali is 17. Prahlad is 14, and Tila's 9.
Uh-huh.
She just turned 9. Um, we homeschooled, and we weren't necessarily against going to school, like in institutional school, entirely, at least not in the later ages, but depending on a specific need that they might have had. Like if they want to be a police officer or something, that was fine for us. But that hasn't really, well, I shouldn't say it hasn't manifested, but we've guided them more towards trying to take on engagements that would be conducive to them to continue sort of the program that we started. So we never encouraged them to go to school or get the high school diploma or anything, but rather sort of encourage the 2 older boys now to get into business and entrepreneurship, so that they wouldn't have to be taken away from the farm so much.
Mhm.
So they've actually, Keshava and Bhima first started doing some handcrafted wood products and selling that on Etsy, and then they took the inspiration from Curtis Stone, who is like a urban gardener on YouTube,
Yeah.
to do microgreens. And also, when we were there with you, we
Yeah.
saw that you were doing microgreens.
Mhm.
But Keshu said, "I'm going to do microgreen business." So they've started a microgreen business. They're actually in the farmers markets today. Both Kesha and Bhima are doing one farmers markets each. So they're developing that business in a slow and steady kind of way, and then hoping. So they have their growing rooms in the barn here. Um, this farm that we have was some kind of cooperation once upon a time.
I see.
So we've been able to sort of advantage of that and have the growing rooms used for microgreens instead. But so we're encouraging them to just do businesses rather than go through the professional route of any kind. Like I said, we don't discount the possibility that regular institutional education might be worthwhile for some specific reason, but we really wanted to focus on small businesses that can be based on the farm. And so for boys, that's our direction, and for girls, we just try to focus on what Srila Prabhupada wanted more so for girls, and that was to be, good homemakers and mothers, and not to get into trying to build an independent career or anything like that. So in a nutshell, that's the educational program. So what we're doing, I guess, for the boys is more so the Vaishya route, because it's the economic base has to be there somehow or other. We were thinking about giving training opportunities as kshatriyas, but in order to do that, they need an economic base in the current environment first. Otherwise, the options are sort of either join the military or become police officer or security guard or something or other, at least to the extent of our imagination. That's been the extent of our imagination. So our approach, if we do want them to have kshatriya tendencies, is to at least start a business first so that they can be more independent in their livelihood, and simultaneously try to develop or try to engage in kshatriya style learning experiences, such as martial arts. And so they do that, but they do that to some degree with jujitsu, and they do sword fighting. Kesho went through the Army cadets sort of system, and what else? That's pretty much the extent of it right now. Sword fighting, jujitsu, and it was the Army cadets. But then there's a lot of focus on the business. There's only so much time in a day and in a week, so there's only so many things that they can be engaged in, including their business and all the spiritual program to keep their sadhana up and everything like that. But
so can I ask
yeah.
you a few more things? So first of
Sure,
all,
sure.
so I mean, you've spent this last, what, 23 years in developing the whole family. So much dedication, time, effort. Oh my God, I cannot even imagine doing something like that, day in,
Yes.
day out.
Yes.
I mean, and trying to keep Krishna consciousness and not going crazy simultaneously.
Yes.
And
I
developing.
should add, Prabhu, that Jai Radhe has been dedicated, and she's stayed at home, and she's been in charge of making sure we have a regular daily sadhana program with the morning program and everything. And she's been the one doing the homeschooling and trying to teach the Bhagavad Gita and things like that. So that's the spiritual training has come from there.
Can I ask you?
But yeah.
Yeah. So what are the difficulties you have been facing, like in this whole journey of last 22 years since the child was born? I mean, before 23 years since Mata became pregnant onwards. What all
Yeah.
main difficulties that you have faced and overcome, but also now being alone and how you are seeing structurally, what would you have liked different?
Well, I think The difficulties, well, for many years, difficulties was to figure out where to do it, and because we were just distracted by moving all around to different places,
Mm-hmm.
and who to do it with. And then when we go when we took great what would you say, leaps of risk, and there's financial devastation and so on, and a lot of instability. So that wasn't very much fun until about 8 or 9 years ago, when we finally had to resign to staying here. Then we were able to lay roots and get some stability and just work within our means. So that was a bit of a big relief
Mm-hmm.
to just start thinking smaller
Mm-hmm.
and more modestly, and then just try to develop some skills in ourselves and how to raise how to raise cows, feed cows, milk cows, train a bull, operate a garden, stuff like that. Um, so the difficulties, uh, is trying to learn without having any kind of mentor, without having an established sort of um, our pre-existing system that you can just go and sort of learn from. So just trying to learn from scratch with very few resources has been difficult. I've experienced recently that with the bull training, we sort of learned the hard way how to do things. Up so much so that up to now, I came to the point where I was almost wondering if it was an over endeavor, or questioning whether or not this is sustainable, the way we're doing things. And so we just went on a little 10-day tour of the United States to talk to all the different devotees that we could think of that do a bull training or oxen training. Try to figure out a system that's easier, more sustainable, and like replicable and teachable.
Mm-hmm.
We are able to do a lot of things, but we're not able to do things in the kind of a real more peaceful and easy manner than as I would expect it would need to be, to kind of inspire others to sort of take up the same occupation. But since we've spoken to everybody, and I think we have concluded on a path now, in a direction of our training to do that. In other words, working the oxen from behind with a ring in the nose, doing in the UK, and like Hungary and all over Europe. Sounds like there's a lot more ox training going on,
You're
or
piercing the
actual work
nose?
with the oxen being done in Europe.
You're training.
I'm sorry.
You're training through nose rings or through voice commands?
Right now, we're just training through man looking on from the side. That's the traditional sort of
Western.
the American New England
Yeah.
sort of, at least it is now,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of surprising. I mean, it's doable. It is definitely doable, but I feel, my experience, it's been borderline, like over endeavor. Like it's very difficult, difficult in some ways, and I don't feel like the control and ease is there that should be there. Like I've been sort of we're spoiled being machine operators.
Yeah.
When you have
Yeah.
if you have a tractor, the responsiveness of the tractor is, it's immediate, so it's hard to get used to having to work with stubborn animals, especially when so the whole idea is to try to get try to make it maximize the efficiency of them, responding to your voice commands and whatever you're making it. I just felt like it needed to improve. And so anyway, that's you asked what was difficult, and just learning learning without real one-on-one mentorship has been very difficult because it's just a long process and you have to speculate and try it. No real authorized things. The resources aren't there to travel around everywhere all the time and to get the training that is maybe required. But it's also been difficult to stay motivated and stay positive, and to feel like we're actually making real progress in the direction we want to. We wonder whether this is be able to grow beyond just a little family project and die with like my own generation. So the anxiety is always whether the children will take it up and whether they'll be able to expand on what we're doing. So that can be discouraging sometimes, especially if we're not making progress that we want to. It's like, well, I have an example where when we started gardening, we didn't do any proper field preparation or anything, and the soil was hard, and we were trying to plant seeds in like really hard soil, and it was just really difficult. And Keshava said to this was about 6 or 7 years ago, he said, I don't know if I want to be a gardener for the rest of my life, because we were doing things so on the fly. It was not inspiring for him to, he couldn't see a future in it himself. So, but when we figuring out how to make proper soil preparation things, oh, okay, I think I could see myself doing this, and so I'm hoping for a similar experience now with the bull training, with ox work, that we're able to become so sort of expert, and it's able to be sort of done with a relative amount of ease, where at least one of the sons or someone can say, hey, I could see myself doing ox work the rest of my life. This is really a really not going to say fun experience, but a doable experience, and I feel like you can only really do that if there's some relative ease in it. So anyway, that's been our mission the last little while, is to try to get some insights on how to improve our bull training. And so I feel pretty good about that. So that's been difficult. And then just not really being part of a village. Like one of the difficult things working with children is that they're generally not motivated to do what you want them to do. Sometimes they are. Most of the time they're not. So it's kind of frustrating when you don't have not to adult children, because they are just children. But we do have a lot of cooperation, but it's cooperation of like a motivated like household or something who has a spontaneous desire to do something and is like a full-fledged team member that you don't have to constantly try to discipline and help you. So it's been difficult to feel like I'm just kind of going it alone, where my children are sort of offering resistance because that's just the nature of children, and then the bulls are offering resistance because they just don't want to work. And so I've been dreaming of just being able to have a sort of more of a group or partnership with like-minded, independently motivated devotees, with energy, where it becomes like a really pleasurable experience, doing all the things that we're doing on the farm. So yeah, that's been difficult to stay motivated and determined under those kinds of circumstances. Yeah, there's just so many aspects of that one has to apply, and to do it alone is very difficult. You need spiritual inspiration, You need education, Srila Prabhupada's books. Then you need sort of an economic base just to sort of to fund the whole thing. You need the skills to actually apply some of the all the things relating to the farming and educational experiences for whether Vaishya Dharma or Kshatriya Dharma or you know so it's a lot and it really it always comes back to the whole idea it takes a village, that concept of it takes a village. um, there's a certain critical mass, I guess, of individuals that are really necessary so that people can be a little bit more specialized
Yeah.
in certain departments rather than to try to apply it all alone, try to figure out all these things alone at least in such a way where it can be perpetuated. The children are inspired to take it up and expand it. So I think yeah, the financial base has been difficult too, just to manage, but somehow
You still have your business, the ghee business?
yes, and that's been that's been critical. I've had a year ago I stopped driving a truck, but for about 2 years I had to sort of drive a truck part-time.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet. Oh, sorry, they're just milking and I'm blabbing, and they're ready to move the cows back in.
Your cow's breed is
Just
Canadian? Is it the same cow, Canadian cow?
no, we didn't get the Canadian cows. We have 5 Guernseys.
Okay.
No, 4 Guernseys and 2 brown Swiss bulls and
Okay.
1 brown Swiss cow.
Nice.
Jai Radhe, when she went to your farm there in New Paltz, when she saw the brown Swiss, she said, "Oh my God, this is the most beautiful cow on the planet," and so I want to get brown Swiss. So, so
I want to get
we
Canadian
got. Yeah.
because
Oh, you want to get the
lucky these
Canadian breed?
cows, like brown Swiss are like Mercedes. They want all the best, everything. But they are very sturdy for the weather.
Yeah, they're very strong.
Mhm.
They're the oxen, the brown Swiss oxen are slow, really slow. At least the ones we have.
Yeah.
But I've recently sort of discovered that they have a lot of torque, so they don't need to go
Yeah.
very fast.
Right.
And it's kind of that one thing that I learned,
They're
and it
2,000
would have been
pounds.
nice had I been. Oh yeah, they
So
must be at least.
yeah, we weighed one time our Bima, 2,000
Yes.
pounds.
Did you have a bull, a brown Swiss bull?
Yeah, we have Bhima and Karna, no? Both of them.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
like John Prabhu was here, we
Yes.
sent him to Vermont in a boarding school to be trained as oxen for a week. And he loved
Oh, that's right.
it. If you
I
remember.
remember. I think I remember that. I
Mhm.
think I remember that.
So all these things are really good, Prabhu. I'm really happy to not have. I mean, it's like struggling as like my heart was like feeling, oh my God, so much struggle.
Mhm.
But this is we somehow continued on and on and on, and it'll be a great learning experience for everyone. Uh, so I'm recording this, and I hope it will be okay if I post it to on YouTube, and different devotees want to keep watching this. But Bharat Prabhu,
You should just edit. You should just edit the parts where I speak ill of my children. So that my children are great. They're absolutely fantastic, and they're more. As far as children go, I think they're excellent in the level of participation and cooperation that they've. Like I talk sometimes it's frustrating, but then on the other hand, to get this farm and to renovate the house and everything, they were absolutely heroic, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without them.
Mhm.
Um, I can't speak highly enough of them and their courage and bravery under the circumstances. So just
Adding a diplomacy, yeah.
just to make sure that's very clear. Yeah, I mean they carry the burden for the most part when it comes to milking
I see.
and harvesting, farm work, weeding, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so
Um,
these are my questions for as related to the kids that see, uh, one is now they are two of your kids are like marriageable age. How about do they feel confident that the way you have taught them till now, and the lifestyle and the teaching and learn everything, they would be able to maintain themselves financially?
yes, well, it's they do. They've had relative success in their business. Um, not to the extent that they could maintain a family right now, but I think in having begun the process of developing a business, they're seeing how it's possible for things to evolve to a point where they will, but they just have to work on the foundation that they have now. And then, as you get into business, then opportunities open up as
Mhm.
sort of in an evolving way.
Mhm.
So they're very, very happy about the lifestyle choice that we've had, but the environment that we live in. They've explicitly articulated it themselves.
Can I
So they say, I'm
interject here,
just
because that is the most important aspect I find among devotees, even other people who are homeschooled, no? I find
yes,
many kids, they hate that, what the parents got them to do. Of course, many children like it and many children hate it. And it
ye-
boils down to many times to the, I don't know the whole thing, and maybe other people can pitch in. But what I wanted to really understand was that the children, how did they, because that's how I've been thinking about the preaching aspect, like interacting with normal people in the society, so that the comparison, it's people are able to see, okay, if I'm living this life, this is what I would be doing, and then hearing at home, and gradually it dawns, oh no, dawns in one, oh, okay, this is better for me to actually do what I'm doing, what my parents got me to be doing.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we
able to
sorry, go ahead.
how were you able to get them to interact closely with everything in the society, everybody else?
Well, they were always engaged in martial arts from early on. So whatever they didn't, of course, they had a family and cousins with like 15 or
Right.
15 cousins in total. So we had a good combination of of family, and then we had a little bit of devotee groups where we were always part of like little devotee groups wherever we were. Finally, here in Montreal, there's a nice little congregation of we can get together with about 40 people or so. So they had a little bit of a devotional community, and then they had their family sort of community, and then they had martial arts. So they had a lot of extracurricular activities. So Keshav was part of the cadets, the Army cadets, and they were part of jujitsu. We would go to jujitsu like 3 times a week, point fighting, kickboxing, and stuff like that. So they had a lot of interaction in that way. It wasn't necessarily at a school,
Mhm,
in a school setting, but it was nevertheless with the broader society in through extracurricular activities.
mhm,
So that might have been what has satisfied them, not to make them feel completely isolated.
mhm,
Now they're part of a sword fighting sword fighting school for the last 3 or so years.
mhm. I see. See, one of the reasons why Srila Prabhupada had young devotees, including families, do preaching activity to people, especially their age group and wherever they are, is because once one is preaching, then one is like articulating the goals of life, the alternative goals of lives from the scriptures, and kind of relating it to them, that how it would be advantageous to take to that goal of life rather than a sense gratification goal of life, because so many attachments we all carry. And if we are sharing that with people, our kind of conditioning, then it becomes easier to understand ourselves, assimilate the teachings. And I know that when I was preaching like this, I joined in US, but I went back to Bangalore where I used to work before, and I had my friends. And then but I like became a brahmachari. And then when I was going and talking to them, and like telling them about Krishna conscious life, everything, I got so many times I would be pained seeing what they were doing and going in this manner and that manner. I'm a brahmachari, I don't have this thing. And then gradually, by talking to them, interacting, gradually those consciousness started to get purified, and started intellectually understanding, no, I can give it up. This is not important. And so I know from my personal experience also, that what Srila Prabhupada was doing is the right way to do things. And that's how I've been thinking about the Varnasrama colleges as a preaching, like like any community would be like interacting closely with the normal people, just so that devotees can gradually get removed all these attachments from the heart by seeing and interacting with other people, of their sort, musician, farmer, all of these people. So that's one of the main things I wanted to discuss with you about the desires which which children have, and coming from past lives, not that in the lifestyle that we have gone through, but last lives there are so many desires we have. That's why we are taking birth. And how, like, living a life purified and chanting, definitely it purifies one. But I'm wondering the Sankirtan movement, no, why it is so potent and why it is recommended by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is because it, by bringing it to others and then interacting, and not only the process of giving Krishna consciousness and taking that, taking, interacting like this, and what we just discussed, gradually the purification and understanding dawns on one. So that is how I've been thinking the Varnasrama College of Farm Community should be like preaching tools, but through using the farm, uh, you know, that's something I wanted to discuss. That have you, like, what have you tried in this? What do you think about that? And do you feel this is what the children went through or not went through? And what could be the effect of all these things?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, my battery's dying a little bit, so I just I'm a little bit worried that it'll die. Well, I can say I understand what you're saying, and I feel like we have had experience because we have a little bit of a congregation here in the Montreal area. We've been able to get together periodically and have festivals at our house and in the farm and everything. And we've done with Aprakrita Prabhu. We did do some Harinam in the streets of Montreal and so on. So we've tried to integrate some of the preaching mission into our activities as much as possible. And then we do have programs at at the farm here. It does become a kind of a show and tell sort of thing, where people come from the city or whatever, and we're given a chance to walk them through the farm and sort of discuss the things that we're doing. And it's enlivening for both myself, because it finally makes me feel like that what we're doing is not just living sort of an isolated family life, but it's something that could be a cause for inspiration. So it makes me feel like part of a preaching mission, which is ultimately what I want to be part of. But I can see it also with the children, at least with Keshva and Bhima, when aside from the Sankirtan and everything, we have the spiritual program. It's very enlivening, and we have amazing chanting and discussions by Nandikeshwar Prabhu when he can be there. So that's the whole thing becomes a bit of a preaching engagement. But it's really a way for the boys to for the children to sort of feel proud about what we're doing. All right, can you still hear me? Okay, sorry. Yeah, so I've seen that in them, that they're really enlivened walking around, and this is where we do this, and this is where we do this, and these are our farms, and it's I that's where they get to express their appreciation for the lifestyle that they live. When people are asking, that's what I observe. I don't know how much that's how much that's critical, but I do observe that it is it is nice for them to have that chance. And then you get the reaction, you get the feedback from the people, like, oh wow, these cows are amazing, or these are the most peaceful cows I've ever seen. And it's a validation for a lot of things that we are trying to impress upon them, and the importance and so on. But when they actually have the interaction with people from the outside, it's a big validation. And I think it inspires them to continue. Yep. Yeah. I guess we'll have to move the black one.
You have a black brown Swiss?
No. A big black water trough.
Okay.
They were just asking if we needed to move the waters, and I said yes. I turned it on. I forgot that I forgot that we were going to move it, so I just turned it on.
Mother Jessica, would you like to comment on this if you are still there?
Oh.
Hare Krishna, that was amazing to hear all of that, all of those experiences, and I'm going to be pondering that for a while. So share what specifically did you have in mind, Prabhuji?
About the children and how they interactions, how much interactions with the people who are studying outside and not in with the goal of God consciousness in their minds, and how will what he's talking about, the main thing I heard from him trying to practice a life like that is the basically financial and all those things were there, that is like everybody is facing in a sense, more or less in the world, and moving around, which is just one-off thing kind of once he settled it. But the other things were the lack of community and lack of the like having a society around, and that's the main thing I feel about, how are your children interact, how have you figured out how to bring your children up in this kind of thinking, in this kind of environment?
Yeah, I find it's a struggle a lot of the time. By God's grace, we're just trying to figure out, like continuously recalibrating, because we're not in that type of, we're not living on a farm. We're mixing with the greater society, not as much as like mainstream society is, but like we are also homeschooling, as you know, I've said before, and
Yeah.
the kids personally, but we're homeschooling the kids, and we are trying to constantly be bring our kids back in contact with other devotees on a regular basis, and religious study and things like that. But it's not, my background is, I mean, I'm an American, was raised as a Christian, but Badri, my husband, he comes from this Vaishnavite, like very orthodox family in India. So he's kind of leads as far as how the spiritual training is delivered. Let me, for a lack of a better word. So my goal is just to continue homeschooling the kids and keep on bringing that maternal that spirituality that just comes from the everyday mundane life. Like, okay, we should pray now. We should take a moment to like chant Hare Krishna, keep on bringing it back to that throughout the day. That's the most that I'm finding I can do, so that when they're outside of this home, that's constantly running in their minds, I hope, because they're not in that community of other devotees on a regular day-to-day basis. Although they're going to your farm, whenever possible, we're engaging with like kirtan or satsangam. My husband is doing a satsangam every Sunday, but it's on Zoom at this point. It used to be at the temple that's nearby to our home. Over the years, that has become like, so many people there are not from this area. They've moved away, so they now moved it to a Zoom. So my kids will listen to that, and it's in their consciousness. But it's different than living a life on a farm. Like, if I feel like that would be the ideal thing, just like having that community, but it hasn't happened for us. And now I feel like for my older child, her heart is there, but she's definitely wants to go out into the world and experience like the education system. Like, she wants to go to college. She doesn't know what she wants to do. She wants to live like a humble life. She wants to continue to like be a devotee and have that as a part of her life. But I feel like my kids are not like at that age where I can even move to that type of environment necessarily. Like, the whole family would have to make that decision. So anyway, I could go on and on. That's like the synopsis of trying to balance like both, because we're homeschooling, we have a lot of more control over who the kids are seeing, and I feel like in a way that the Lord has created this as like a bridge, because I notice that my kids are experiencing this Maya and this like this some of the aspects of society, especially like what you would think of as Kali Yuga. They're seeing it, they're experiencing it, and then they have to keep making it, like there's always a choice point. Like, because they're not in only a community of devotees, they have to continuously see something and decide, is this in alignment with, like I just keep telling them, if you have nothing else in your mind, ask yourself, is this in alignment with like that Krishna consciousness in your heart? It could be the smallest decision. And I know they don't always do that. But they're like mixing with society now and then, in the sense like other kids in the homeschool community, they may be Catholic, they may be atheist, we don't know. I mean, we know to a degree. But that's where we're at. I'll stop there because otherwise I'll just go on and on. But that's where we're at. We're sort of like in the material world, and then also trying to practice these things.
Thank you very much. I've learned a lot by seeing how you're interacting with kids and seeing their thought processes and what they want and what they are comfortable with. And I've been watching a lot, trying to figure out what to do, like designing. So of course, we'll discuss that more. Bharat Prabhu, would you like to share some things?
Well, I'm just enjoying literally hearing Ramananda Prabhu
Yeah.
speaking, and it brings up a lot for me. And I want to say first, your kids, Prabhu, they are heroic, definitely, and Ramananda Prabhu and Jairade, they are heroic, and I mean that there's still a lot of pain for having met you but just for some time living together with you. Yeah, I see you as a role model family where so many can learn from, and I can understand that there's a anxiety that you're not putting your potential out enough into the world, and about your legacy. And I cannot imagine that your kids will not continue this lifestyle. As I have seen them, they are owning it. They are embodying, liking, loving the Vaishnava lifestyle. Yeah. And I remember you were visiting when we were over endeavoring training Bhima, and he was going to the boarding school in Vermont. Yeah, what both of you are saying, Jessica, Mata also, yeah, it's speaking to me in a very grounded way. I'm now in Germany today. We came to Germany yesterday or 2 days ago from Portugal, and I'm doing some business here, and my kids, they will be without me, so they are with the mom. I'm doing the homeschooling, and my kids, they are also resisting. They're resisting the homeschooling when it's just front homeschooling. It's like the school homeschooling. They want homeschooling in a way where it's like in the school. So there were times when they were thinking that they are lacking something because they are not going to school, and their mom was thinking, oh, my kids, they will not get a school title, school degree. And also when we have come back from upstate New York, living together in Newports on Gopal Farm, after not receiving the visa. We have been in Germany for a while, and my wife, she was afraid because we were homeschooling, because in Germany it's forbidden. You go to jail if you homeschool. I was happened that fast, but my wife was like, hey, you don't go out to the streets when people can see you. So hiding, we are homeschooling and hiding our lifestyle. Oh, no.
I think Bharat Prabhu?
Yeah. I don't know if you heard, like, yeah, hiding the lifestyle, hiding the school also. So my kids, they changed from growing up in Vaishnava community and being proud of the, like, we have these big cows, and this is what we do on the farm. They had this feeling, and they changed to, like, yeah, we also want to be as kids are in soccer. So we had no martial art there. We had karate in the village where we are now, but there are only small kids. So my kids, they lost the interest. Yeah, karate, it's not for me. So they went to soccer. They see how all the kids, they play video games. They also want to have video games. And if I now continue to have them in morning class, like we did, always class together, then they would just be pushed away from Vaishnavism. So the community, yeah, it's lacking. And I remember how Ramananda, how you often spoke about, yeah, you want to live somewhere where there are role models, like the male role models for your boys, for example, where they can look up to. And yeah, that is missing. And also I have a lot of trust. My kids going out in the world. In Portugal, they are a lot with one local farmer. It's like, it's so true. They see how material life is. And also, yeah, one of them, he likes to be farmer. He loves that lifestyle. He loves it. He's there. He is in his Varna without me pushing it. And at the same time, the environment it was needed on Newport's farm, Gopal in Newport's on Gopal farm. I'm eternally grateful for having had that environment, because like Gopal, he was wanting to grow, and I was needing to make him like a 200-foot bed, and I needed to make it in a way that he wanted it, and it was super easy for him to plant. And later he was having all the plants, and now he still loves that lifestyle. And for Damodar, it's different. So I think it takes a lot of time, and it's very individual for different families. And yeah, and there's community needed, that exchange and support structure, these calls like today, where we support each other, and to create something that helps our kids to be proud of. Also, I feel very grateful for Nimai Prabhu coming up with the idea, and in the past, like, hey, Bharat Prabhu, what about growing some microgreens? And I was like microgreens, what's that? Never heard of it. And yeah, it became pretty successful at that time. So I also encourage my boys in doing business. And according to time and circumstances, yeah, it can take a little longer for everyone to find their dharma. And I'm paying a lot of attention to not push, and to let them make their own experiences, and to yeah, to do it in a way that is conducive for our family, where I'm just role modeling in a way that's authentic for me, and giving them more opportunities to make good decisions. And I know it's not ideal, and yeah, I'm impressed by what Ramananda has created over the years there, and I see a lot of alignment with yeah, the ghee business and Etsy shop and microgreens and all of that. And I remember how you taught your boys from Artha Shastra, and like my boys have been in Jayaradis homeschooling classes, learning 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And yeah, so it's still a lot of inspiration I take from your example today.
Very nice, Prabhu. Very nice to hear. Ramananda Prabhu, now I want to talk to you on this subject of, are you still there? Are you able to communicate still?
I think I'm good. I have my phone charging now.
Okay. So now you mentioned about the,
Were you able to hear me?
yes, yes. You mentioned about not being in a village, not part of a village, being difficult, like that part. So now that you have kind of, gone through that experience, now children are grown up, they can have their own families soon. Now, like your village is kind of organically developing. You see, I mean, won't you, do you feel something like this could happen around you? Like more devotees or more young people could join, and your kids' families, and gradually it can develop a more of a village environment.
Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of miss.
Hello? Hello, Prabhu? Mm, Now I can hear you.
Now you can hear me?
Yes. No.
Okay, sorry. It's I'm in a part of the house that's a bit difficult to get signal from. But I think I grasped the essence of what you're saying. It just kind of blocked out for a second. But
Would you like to, like, you think you can develop organically now a community around you?
I feel like we've been we struggle with the idea. Sometimes we feel like it's not necessarily a preference, but it's something that Krishna is forcing us to consider. That's the best that we're going to be able to do. And it's very daunting to think about it in those terms because we feel very limited, both in our own abilities and our own sort of resources, and time constraints, and but also candidates that are around. We don't run into a lot of individuals that are all that interested. But it's sort of a lot of things going parallel is that we're trying to develop some skills so that we can actually show that we have something to contribute. Particularly, we're focusing on oxen training right now. We have sort of milk production down pat, and that's all good. And I feel like the focus now is to really become expert in ox work, so that we can actually develop some kind of economic production from that engagement. I think that might be the key is in some regards to expansion or to progress, and so that's where we've been putting our focus. But we're constrained also by our passports. We're Canadian citizens, and whenever we humor the idea of going to the United States, that always is like a harsh reality that we come back to. Well, but how would we even, if we wanted to join devotees in the U.S., how would we even do it? We're Canadian citizens. My son is 22. I don't have when we went to Fiji, when we went to New Zealand, we were able to get visas, and everybody was able to follow me as dependents. But that's not the case anymore because my two oldest boys are 19 and 22, so they would have to go on their
What
own.
I'm thinking, why can't I mean, you have like 3 or 4 families right there soon.
Yeah, and it becomes a question of self-confidence, and faith. And like I said, we struggle with the idea. Sometimes we feel like maybe that's just what we're going to be forced to do. But in order to do that, if we have to marry them, they have to be married properly. They have to be well engaged. Like if they have, we need to find some, a candidate who's going to adopt the similar lifestyle and be satisfied with the similar lifestyle. So that becomes a challenge. It's not insurmountable, and
I remember
we have.
Nandikeshwar Prabhu saying the same thing about Mother Jayarade. And you came around, see, and 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 then we were talking about other children also, and uh, so that this is where I want to discuss more, and I'm trying to understand if Srila Prabhupada's Varnasrama College concept can help with this, develop these pockets of communities around, because the way I feel Srila Prabhupada, like with the conversation we just were hearing, this conversation,
Yes.
about from the cities, people would want to be there, harass poor citizens, and they want to come to Krishna consciousness. And he clubs it with the Varnasrama College. The Varnasrama College has to be established immediately. while talking about people from the cities are so harassed, are going to be so harassed with food and taxation and all these things. And more I feel that people are, because capitalistic society, this is not a God conscious capitalism. It's not a Vaishya oriented God conscious Vaishyas. So this is demoniac capitalism. So because of which, they kind of suck the life out of, they are not concerned about spiritual life or spiritual upliftment. So so many people are so frustrated. And if there are structured programs of teaching, not just of one aspect of it or two aspect, but a wholesome living, and a structure around which where people can transition from living in a city very frustrated to living in a family, just like you are living, which you are showing that, oh, you can live like this and you can work like this and you can raise your family like this. And there should be economic basis for it too. And one has to be keep in mind, like like what I have been understanding, that when Srila Prabhupada says simple living, high thinking, there are different standards of simple living. And the people in the cities, they can't perceive, many of them, even if they think theoretically, oh, it looks so good, just live off the grid, all these things. When they really boil down to it, when they start doing it, they realize, man, this is not for me. And they're so used to things like as part of life, hot water and turning on the heat like that, that it is just so for them to think when they start really living that kind of life, and then it becomes counterproductive. And I saw Srila Prabhupada twice. In his example, he is showing Western devotees, they need better facilities. That is their minimum. I remember in Vrindavan, he was someone. Srila Prabhupada was explaining that my Western disciples, they and in Vrindavan I built running water for them, like bathrooms for them, because that's what they are used to. Otherwise, they can't really chant and hear peacefully. And that's how. And then one time, somebody was saying about New Vrindavan and people coming in, and people like this we were talking about. And she was saying, no, you should build nice houses for them, nice cottages for them, so that they can live comfortably, and not like the devotees, they were living, breaking ice, take shower. And so from that, it's normal. It is common sense that if our main purpose is not to live simply, main purpose is to live simply so that we can chant peacefully. So, and that simple is different for different people. So if we can show them a simple lifestyle to people from the cities, not an austere lifestyle where they just focused on austerity rather than on the main purpose of life, then I feel it is a good preaching, like a good attractive way to bring in new people. Have you experienced something like this, Prabhu? What do you feel about that?
Well, we've experienced that. We've experienced what our limitations are as far as simple living, and like you said, I think there's the essence of the purpose of the simple living has to be remembered all the time. It's a question of peacefulness and time saved for Krishna consciousness. So there's no, like you said, it's counterproductive to demonstrate a very austere, as if like a competition who can be more austere. It's not. It's not the. It's not the idea. It's kind of like the idea is to actually give relief from the standard anxieties of society. And so the challenge has been to how to do that exactly. How to, because we're struggling. We're struggling in one sense, but generally speaking, I think we do convey, I think, a lifestyle that is, I guess, admirable and enviable. That's the experience that we have recently. But unfortunately, it's kind of artificial in a sense because it's being funded from the outside. It's not like our relative ease of life has been by Krishna's grace and just having awarded the business opportunity that I have where I am able to stay home and do a lot of work at home, and my wife doesn't have to work, and so on and so forth. And we do have some relative opulence. You know, it is a fairly nice house, nice sort of. It's an old farmhouse, but it's still fairly nice, and we make everything nice. We want everything to be nice so that people can actually, you know, be attracted to it, and not just try to show austerity, because no one will be but the challenge now is to and to your question about developing a Varnasrama college here is developing a Varnasrama college has always been the goal. This is the prime goal. This is what we want to do. But we need to actually be able to live it first. So we're trying to learn to the best of our abilities the actual elements of a Varnashram, so we can actually have something to teach. If we don't know it ourselves, we're not teaching anything. So I think I feel like we're pretty far off from developing a Varnashram college if we're not actually living it ourselves yet. We're not showing Varnashram college. If we were to invite everybody all of a sudden to come over here and see how we're living a Varnashram college, they're not going to see a Varnashram college.
Yeah.
Because, you know, so that's why we've been focusing on just trying to develop some of the actual aspects that Srila Prabhupada talk about. Develop like businesses that are based from the farm. Finance our own development of self-sufficient agriculture, so that at some point we can actually show that we have some form of economic development from the land. You know? And until we get there, it's we're not really. I don't think that we have a Varnashram college to.
Do you feel you could, like what I have been thinking is, I mean, you saw when you came 9 years back to New Paltz, and you know, what you were saying, I was thinking like that. And then gradually over the years, I've come to more and more understand that I need help of others to. So what now I have come to this conclusion that I need to invite devotees to say, I cannot do it on my own. I've reached the limit of how much I could do. I need help in developing the Varnasrama College. And I can do this much because this is what my modes, or what I feel more inclined to do, or what I'm called to do in my service. And what you could do, what is your similar um, modes or instruction from Krishna and Srila Prabhupada and like that, and um, and then graduate, and then likewise form communities like around the mission to develop Varnashrama College, which can train devotees, children, and new people. Do you feel uh, you you don't want to you could not invite similar minded couples or people, like with your children around and their families, likewise some other people, and ask them also help in developing?
Yes, for sure. Like to date, we have had somewhat of a de facto Varnashram college in that we have children that we've been have alongside with us to learn along with us. In one sense, if you sort of lower the standard of what your Varnashram college is a little bit, then you can sort of what do you call it, improvise. So we've had the boys, and we're like, okay, well, we're learning this, and you're going to learn along with us. So we can sort of think of ourselves in terms of some kind of Varnashram college, you know, because at the very least you'll be able to learn. You'll learn from our mistakes, and we can take advantage of that. And if we were to invite others, then we don't have the means to support anybody else, really. Like financially, we're struggling to just maintain our own sort of situation. So it would be, but it would have to be with the understanding that we're learning together.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so it could be somebody who's already made some progress and they have, they're not completely dependent on us. They're able to maintain their own independence to some degree, and it's sort of working cooperatively. Like we're going to try to grow together. This is where we are.
Yeah.
This is where we want to be. We both have that understanding, and like how can we help each other to sort of become more experts, to accelerate our own development process to reach that.
Exactly. So all how I have been starting to think about Varnashram College now is if we can make like many devotees are either thinking like this, may not be Varnashram College specifically, but thinking in these terms of what to do with people. We want to help people in the city. Maybe I want to go to the farm. Maybe I want to live a more simpler life, or I want to learn some things like this. I want to be with cows. Like so many varied things are there. And then I started to realize, oh, a, a community is not a carbon copy of me or other people. There are all completely different thinking people, because Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, all with varied kind of thinking and worldview. How it can, and I am starting to think, okay, how I can think about bringing all of them together towards a mission where Srila Prabhupada is saying, oh, everybody around the whole area, you should encourage to chant Hare Krishna mantra, or read and towards God consciousness. And so it's not like everyone needs to have farming or business background. So I've been thinking about Brahminically inclined devotees, how I could support them, or older devotees who are like Brahminically inclined, because Vaishnavas, and likewise different categories. Preachers would be there. And so if people are like, if I could conceptualize a Varnasrama college teaching all different kind of Varnas, then different people with different backgrounds and different thinking, not of one ilk, they could feel like, oh, I could be part of a community or college like that, to help develop the concept and develop the teachers, develop the resources, develop the teaching material. You know what I'm saying? It could take 3, 4, 5 years, and that's no problem. So starting with like structured way of Varna division. Otherwise, it'll be tough to have people come in and unless we ourselves divide, including the children, that more prominent which Varna, and then training and the roles and teaching material, everything around that. What do you feel, Prabhu?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying there. I think like up until now we've sort of been trying to do it all. Like Jai Radhe is we've tried to dabble with Brahminical training. Jai Radhe does the Brahminical training at home. She's been doing the spiritual program and teaching Bhagavad Gita and everything, and we've tried to associate with devotees as much as possible, do Sankirtan and so on. So we've tried to have all of the elements of a Varnashram college sort of within our own family. Offering the Kshatriya training as much as possible, and then trying to develop the Vaishya Dharma in being on the farm and milking the cows, growing food, and oxen training. But I think like you said, we're sort of at a point where we know we've reached the limit of what we can do alone, and it would be more ideal if there was a little bit more of specialization. So if we were to become associated with the Brahminical community, so that they they're expert in that field, and we just, if we can just tie ourselves in, then we can maybe be a little more specific, focus on, let's say, our Vaishya training, like
Yeah. Yeah.
where I feel more inclined to really go at it with ox work
Uh-huh.
and food writing and that. If the
When I
elements,
think of you, I feel like ox training, like that. You're so steady and humble and simple since the beginning days.
it's been difficult, but I do feel that ultimately through it all, through humoring Kshatriya Dharma, through humoring Brahmana Dharma or whatever, it feels like ultimately I think what's more sustainable for us is to focus on the Vaishya Dharma
Mhm.
more so. I've tried to introduce Kshatriya Dharma to the kids to see to what extent they take to it.
Mhm.
But there's always an underlying need for the Vaishya Dharma as a support for everything.
Of course.
There always has to be some economic development support. So um, that's where
How
we need
about
to
if
see.
what I'm proposing is, why don't we, like, if we start thinking of it like we want to develop a college. Why Srila Prabhupada gave the name college? So college has structure, departments, teaching material, teachers, degree,
Yes.
like that. So I mean, it follows naturally. Krishna is saying, I've created four varnas. And we also in Varnasrama College, around like, ourselves, we categorize, we become peaceful in it. Okay, I can do this much. Krishna, please send other people and for
Yeah.
doing different departments. And of course, it takes time, and all these are there part of the empowerment and being used by Krishna as an instrument. But and it takes its own time. But I'm saying we start with that, no, with that mentality that this is my contribution to the whole society and the college, and other people are required, and then we put it out there that these are the different people and then we start talking, and we are doing our part, and that's a whole process of how to attract. And I'm seeing, like, I started like last few weeks and months, and I'm already seeing, which I didn't even think about, that kind of response from different devotees. And I'm thinking, oh, Krishna is doing like this. Oh, Krishna is sending somebody like that. And maybe as he wants me to go in that direction. And I think, oh yeah, this is the right direction. And it's a really, really, really initial steps of um, practically developing the program. I mean, I was thinking of it, and you didn't come. You didn't come to the new farm. We finally, couple of years back, we got a new farm. I was thinking about the whole Varnasrama College, like really establishing it. And so finally, we got this 200-acre farm, about half an hour. It's more nearer to New York City too. So it's very, really prime location. Um, so there we could do much more. And of course, there is much more facility too. But who knows, Prabhu, if you start thinking like this, you could also get maybe nearby farms or other things. I don't know. Um, so land and everything is not at all. I don't see that as a curtailing or limiting factor. It's finally it's I think it is more to do with our own consciousness and desire, and how much we open ourselves up to other devotees and help, and in a community help, that we are limited.
Hmm.
Uh, So why we started doing this group and the meeting is because I needed help to develop this teaching material, really how to identify each one's varna, the structure around it, and the departments, and this concept also of the Varnasrama College. what I am thinking, what Srila Prabhupada is pointing towards, or because he hasn't shown us directly how to do it, just like he opened temples and books distribution and all these things. So we have to kind of get indications from what he has written in Bhagavatam, like you have been doing, and I saw Nandikeshwar Prabhu doing it. He's such a huge influence towards all of your purification and upliftment. So he was taking so many things from the purports and implementing it, which may not be directly shown by Srila Prabhupada. So through all of that, to develop certain kind of structure around this whole concept. So what I've been thinking is to develop them near a city, because it's easier for financial interactions, for visitors, for preaching purposes, and just a little more comfort is there, which people in from the city, all of us are used to. So that is the one major thing which I wanted reviewed from devotee community, because generally thinking was that you go far away from the city, go in total remote location, and that's the kind of thinking. I'm thinking that may not happen for a few generations, because of so many considerations, and we should have Varnasrama colleges very near to the cities, maybe 1 or 2 hours away. Yes, Bharat Prabhu?
Now we're getting close to closure today, and yeah, I'm wondering at this point, what's a Varnasrama College, and how much is it a blueprint? How much does it need to be customized? Does it need to be only on site, or can some parts of it be online? Can it be some virtual? I mean, Srila Prabhupada said where the temples are, yeah, and there we need to teach, and it's hands-on. And at the same time, like when I hear Ramananda Prabhu speaking, I'm thinking, oh, I would love to um, invite Keshava and Bhima to be part of the management courses I give on weekends. They can be there for free, and they can have a couple of weeks of training in management, just project management or some specific parts of management. And in that sense, I think on one hand, it's needed that there are farms like your farms where you establish physical Varnasrama colleges. And then also from management, I'm thinking there are different kinds of projects. And I can imagine that there can be different kind of Varnasrama colleges where you have a tier 1, tier 2, tier 10, whatever kind of Varnasrama college with different specializations. And I don't see any need to wait for anything. Every one of us, I sense, should take the special skills that we learned and support each other. And I can see there can be different platforms to do that, different ways to support each other. Krishna Badri Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, I'm just listening at this point, and I have been for a while. So,
Shuddha Sattva Prabhu, you wanted to share something?
No, bro. I joined quite late, bro.
Okay, no problem. Yeah. So, yeah, any other discussion we should have today? But I mean, it was very nice to have Ramananda Prabhu today, because he is farther along than many of us are in this whole homeschooling and simple living and farm living, agriculture living, and basing his income from the farm. And but on the Varnashrama College, that's what we are discussing, how to really be able to start it. And and attract new people also, and existing. So Ramananda Prabhu, one more thing I realized, that so many older devotees are there, that living in so many places. And if we are somehow able to provide for them on the farm or near the farm or some location which is like a community thing near us, they are like, many of them are like on a, because they are Vaishnavas, I am thinking of treating them as in the Varna Brahman category, where we provide for them place to stay and live, and continuous, because without that, like, spiritual input which you are getting from Nandikeshwara Prabhu, and also if more people like that, what I'm feeling here, more devotees like that come and settle down. That is one aspect I'm really concentrated on right now. I'm thinking how to develop the housing for them. That is one focus of mine. And of course, children schooling. You have such a nice thing. Maybe if um, your family would like to do like schooling for other children also, other devotee children. I don't know. So all these things we all need to discuss.
Yeah, it's definitely something that especially as our children get older, that there's Jai Radhe is always, wherever we've been, she's always been enthusiastic to involve others in her, um, in the Bhagavad Gita shloka class or whatever it might be. She has a specific attraction to a specific department of training. She's not like the strongest in math and things like that, but definitely she could contribute that. And I know others definitely, others' wives might have the same. Are we strictly to stop at 10 o'clock?
Soon enough, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But no, I appreciate it, Prabhu. Thank you so much to everybody for allowing me to join here. And
Very good, Prabhu. Thank you for Hari Kirtan, Prabhu. I mean, it's nice of him to send you the link. He told me that he
thank
sent
you
you
very
the.
much, Hari Kirtan, Prabhu. We haven't heard from you today. I came here to be with you.
He's not here anymore. Huh? He's not here.
Oh, okay.
But I just wanted to thank him that he gave you the link. But let us keep in touch, Prabhu. Um, I mean, we have a group, WhatsApp group, which is where we have been discussing the need of dividing the Vaishnava society into Varna. Today, I mean, till now, we have come to that conclusion that till we reach spontaneous attachment to hearing and chanting about Krishna, that's what Srila Prabhupada writes, we need to be in the Varnashrama system. We need to divide the society even among people who are chanting. So, so that we have come. Now we are going to go into how to really divide, like how to see the Varna, and how to gauge the Varna. So that's the discussion will happen. So gradually, I'm hoping we can come to these kind of solid conclusions philosophically, and then also practically how to implement them gradually in the college. So these are just the building blocks of the college. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any last thoughts for today? Not last thoughts in life. Yeah. Sorry.
I just wanted to say briefly, because I wanted to just acknowledge that the last point you made about integrating the different varnas, Brahminical varna and so on. That a lot can be said about that. We know we're short on time, but that's sort of what I've been thinking, is to really integrate people who have those specialties, particularly Brahminical, to integrate into a Brahminical society, or with a Brahminical society, so that Brahminical training is very prominent. I think that's already established in many ways, and we can discuss where and who they are, but I feel like we just, to some degree, we might need to just specialize a lot,
Yeah.
or have those three specialties. It's basically Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya.
Yeah.
If there are experts in those three fields, if we identify the opportunity for cooperation amongst those, then I think we could be, fairly successful in developing some kind of resemblance of a Varnasrama college if those three elements are there. So we've been trying to work on the Vaishya aspect. Brahminical aspect already exists in many regards across the world. Kshatriya is something a little less, maybe a little less obvious. But I think if we have experts in the Vaishya Dharma and experts in the Brahminical Dharma, and we can, I think those are the most important elements, I think, and then we develop the Kshatriya Dharma there somewhere in between. But anyway, I just wanted to
I'm thinking he's the resourcefulness. He can own the land, and he provides everything to everybody for like facilities and intelligence and I mean direction and how to
Yes.
do the money and how to like gives all the facility and resources to everybody. So you should be resourceful enough to develop all these things.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And protection, physical protection, and so on, and management, and so on.
Physical protection now, we are not living outside the society in a sense. So we have cops and army and all these things already. So we take advantage of their, till they are there. So that's why I've been thinking more. They are managing devotee kind of thing, managing.
Yes.
Rather than only the what we think of as like that. So anyway, we can keep discussing, Prabhu. If you would like to join that group, I can send you a link, and we have like
Thank you.
devotees, we have these discussions going on, and then we meet weekly. So gradually we hope to develop all these components of the Varnasrama College as time goes by, learning from each other. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for joining today and helping review and discuss and hear from Ramananda Prabhu. And if any questions are there, if he joins the group, maybe you wouldn't mind answering. Okay,
Sure.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone.
Very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna, to all the assembled Vaishnavas.